comedy gold.
Friends of the Man event. It is Sunday, June 14th. Welcome to our weekly live show. Checking in again for their part-time jobs. We got Pooh Bear, Matty Ho, the Chief. I am B Love, and we have an amazing show lined up for you today. Hey, we are going to talk a little bit about the recent short that we did on Boot Camp Day. We've got a special guest for that. We are going to introduce a weight loss challenge. We are going to talk things COVID, unemployment, what's going on in the economy. We're going to talk sports, right? This is a sports show. We're going to talk about NCAA athletes getting paid and something that we call the autonomous zone.
That's coming up.
We shall see. So welcome back. We are ready to get started. And to introduce our guest this week, I'm going to turn it over to the Chief.
Yeah, hey. So I am pretty excited about this week's guest. Straight from the boot camp video, we have personal trainer Ashley Joe. Ashley, come on in. There she is.
I'm a little scared to see her again.
Ashley, a friend of the Man event. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hey, let's
make me nervous, Ashley. I'm afraid you're going to beat me some more. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a gentle soul.
There you go. Okay.
Hey, before we get started with Ashley, we need to establish a little groundwork, guys. Number one, Ashley, let's talk about your qualifications to play the part of personal trainer. You are, in fact, a bona fide certified personal trainer. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. How many marathons have you completed?
So I've completed 14 marathons, about 33 half marathons, if not more. One ultra that I did about 2 years ago, and B-Love, I got a whole basket worth.
That basket looked heavy.
Wow. It is.
Now look, we didn't just find you on Facebook. B-Love and I are in fact clients of yours. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, I know. For almost 3 years now, we've been meeting with you at like 5 o'clock in the morning. We do boot camp twice a week.
Yeah.
So look, I'm just going to start off with my first question for you.
Don't say it.
We've been doing this for 3 years.
Don't say it.
Why aren't we in better shape by now? I feel like this might be your fault.
Okay, I have 2 words.
Are you guys paying for this too?
Chicken biscuits.
I knew that was going to be the answer.
They're delicious, by the way. Have you had a chicken biscuit from Chick-fil-A?
So I have not. I'm a vegetarian.
Man, that's your fault.
That is, it's a hard life. However, it's calories in and it's calories out there. And I have several text messages and pictures and images of food that they're eating on a cheat day or at work.
This can't be good. This can't be
good. Buns from Panera, Cliff, donuts.
Doesn't B-Love show up with a coffee and a donut like a Boston cream?
No, he doesn't. No. So I will say that Cliff and Brian are one of the hardest two working bootcamp clients that I do have. I will say there's a little, competition between the two of them, but it's kind of easily done when Brian starts running. Cliff is gone.
Listen, Ashley, I have a very serious question to ask.
Hold on a second. I have a follow-up question to that statement. What do you mean by gone? Like he leaves?
So Brian makes a beeline, and Cliff is left like in the intro to the video on the wall wheezing.
All right, I just wanted to clarify that. That's not good.
Or what's the rush? Or why are we leaving so fast?
The things you're saying are awfully hard for the rest of us to believe because we know Cliff, we know B-Love, we know these guys. And when you say they're the hardest working, then the only thing I can deduce from that is that they're your only 2 clients.
No.
Oh,
no. They've worked out with.
Never mind.
Yeah. Nope. I almost wore my shirt just now.
You got the result. What are you talking about then?
Listen, I have a very serious question. While you talk about Cliff and I being two very hardworking clients of yours, the world wants to know, who's your favorite?
Oh no!
You got to answer. That's one of the rules here. You got to give an answer. You got to give an answer.
It's like children. You can't pick your favorite. You guys are both very different. Very different. Brian is more appeasing and likable to the exercises and doesn't complain as much. Cliff gets out of the car and first thing in the morning goes, ugh. He grits his tongue. I mean, it's noises. It's a lot of grunting and growling from Cliff.
The boot camp tell all.
With the exception of bands, I don't think there's an exercise that I have vetoed.
Yes.
Well,
so I have a rule that if they complain about the weather, we do burpees. So if they complain it's too hot, it's too cold, we do burpees. But Cliff, you can't do squats. You hate squats. Your pinky hurts, so bicep curls are out of it. You hate laps. You hate battle ropes. You hate kettlebells. You hate slam balls because it's essentially a squat. I can't list. The only exercise I can always do with you is chest press and chest fly, and I'm okay.
Cliff is a chest man.
He does like the gun show work, though. He is a fan of the gun show work. But listen, I just thought of this. Why is he allowed to?
I like where this question's going.
Why is he allowed to say that this is an exercise we can never do at boot camp again? But I haven't been allowed to pick one.
Well,
so if you do them all,
go right ahead.
So age before beauty.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
All right, I'll
wait a minute. No, let me see. I think I was just insulted on that, and I didn't even know it.
You've been abused quite bad already, Cliff.
No, I can take it.
I just noticed the mustache is gone.
Yeah, I like it.
The mustache was gone. You like the mustache? You like without mustache?
Well, I think it makes you look older.
Oh, he was getting slightly like Cliff Clavin Cheers for me. But he wasn't as sweet as Cliff Clavin and Cheers, Like Cliff is a little more tough. I don't know, if he's as tough as he is.
I was going to go with Kevin James.
Oh,
wow.
Dude, that's Pooh Bear, man. You just nailed it.
He reminded me of Kevin James.
Totally Kevin James, yes.
And really quick, Kevin, I don't know if anyone's seen
Paul
it.
Blart
Kevin James has got some really good short videos he's been doing.
Yes, he does. Those are incredible.
They're funny. I think you guys that baseball one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I've been getting some feedback on the mustache, and some people said you look like a fireman, which I was getting thumbs up for. Other people were giving it a little creepy look, and I was like, "Well, that's thumbs down. I don't want to be the creepy guy." But anyway, so after I saw the video, and it wasn't just the outfit, I said that mustache has got to go, man. I think it's terrible.
You think the mustache was the worst part of your outfit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
wow.
Well, Ashley did call you out on your mustache, so
I know.
Sure
remember,
did.
hey, stash boy. Yep. Whatever you said, that was funny.
I'm glad.
Well, the thing is, what did your wife think? That's the deciding factor. Right?
Oh, look, I knew that was coming. She had been gone for a couple of weeks. She went to see her sister in Atlanta, and I knew that the stash was limited on borrowed time from the time she got home. And the moment I said, I'm thinking about shaving the mustache, she goes, "Thank God, go get rid of that thing." I think
it's not making the real estate prices go up. It's making it go down.
Yeah, so it had to go. Plus, it made me look older, and I don't need it.
How did you get started in physical fitness, personal training, as a profession?
So my dad was a doctor and my mom was a nurse, but she also worked at the YMCA. And I used to go into her classes as a kid and take her classes, but I liked the fact that I could be a preventative measure for people before they have to see my dad and my mom.
Oh.
So
take business from your parents.
So I just got to be clear about this. A preventative measure. I believe Cliff has sustained more injuries.
That's on Cliff. That's on Cliff.
Since we started boot camp, than he ever has before.
He got injured in the video before we even started filming.
Right.
Yes.
That wasn't caught. Yours, however, yours was caught, and it was very entertaining.
Well, mine was just a cramp. That was just a cramp.
It was a cramp after 10 steps.
Listen, the chief had to stay home from work the next day.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Cliff couldn't even put on his work uniform. He was really
forget the uniform. I couldn't put the
out.
socks on. My foot had, so Matty Ho, when he goes down in the video on the what do you call it, the hurdles, he's actually recreating the scene where I went down in practice, and I went down like a sniper took me out. I mean, it was bad. But my ankle was swollen the size of like a golf ball on the side of my foot here, and I couldn't get my socks on because my toe hurt. My big toe hurt so much. So.
Wow,
So
your
let's
big
just-
toe.
let's
Is
just
that
add
the same injury as your pinky?
Pinky, yes.
No,
that's what I was gonna say.
the pinky's where you broke it throwing that 20-pound ball at me in the
Red ball.
dark.
I broke it.
Yeah, you threw the ball at me in the
Maybe
middle.
you caught
We
it wrong.
were doing those sit-up things, where you
So
throw
what
them
you're
over your head.
saying? What you're saying is you don't have good hands.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is you
He
freaking
can't
beeline the
catch.
ball at me, man. You like beamed me with the thing. It's self-preservation.
Wow,
I think it was off target too.
this is being blamed on me. Wow.
You notice?
We can blame it on Ashley
only-
for making us throw the ball in the dark.
Ryan, is there an exercise that I can make it up to you with at boot camp this week?
I don't understand how any exercise makes it up to me.
Ooh, let's do wind sprints.
Water
Let's do wind
curls.
sprints this week.
Water curls could make it up to me.
Wait, are you participating in wind sprints this week, Cliff?
No, my ankle's still.
So
There's always an excuse.
Listen,
Let's do nonstop wind sprints.
while we're talking about the Chiefs' injuries, Ashley, this is a very serious question.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
And I need your opinion. What is the most likely injury that he is going to sustain next?
Well, I mean, he's come to boot camp like concussed, but that was not on my part. He's come to boot camp with broken ribs. Once again, not also on my part. He was playing
He's just-
football with kids. I
He's just a
believe.
walking accident, isn't
I
he?
forgot about the
right,
broken rib.
it's not me. It's Cliff. He
How
hurt
about the
his
bicep?
Yeah, he ripped his bicep water skiing. He hurt his pinky having tea, I'm sure. They're just a plethora, and none of them really have to. Most of them, if any percentage happen at boot camp, it's always before doing some activity, fixing something. I dropped this.
Or they're just manufactured excuses. It's one of the two.
That's probably more likely.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I don't know.
Oh,
So
my.
you're saying the reason that the Chief isn't fit
It's on the chief.
has to do with chicken biscuits?
So none of it has to do with lack of effort or doing the exercises wrong.
I mean,
What do you
I
think?
need a chicken biscuit.
I'll put the challenge up. I mean, I'll see them this week. I put the challenge up. I put the challenge up for them to pace each other and see who can vie for more full reps. And there you go.
Hey, listen, one thing I do got to say, and if you've checked out the video of boot camp day, there's a clip there of Ashley and the Chief doing push-ups. And
That's right, yeah.
I've been doing boot camp with this guy
He's never done them like that.
4 or 5 years probably
Never.
now. 4 or 5 years probably now.
Yeah.
And that's the first time
That
I've
was the
ever
first
seen
time I
him
saw it
Do
too.
a legit
actually
push-up?
execute an actual push-up.
Those are solid push-ups. There's a lot of them too, I might say.
You've never done them like that before. If
Yeah.
we're
Here
being
they
honest.
are. Full
Yeah,
surprises,
I
guys.
mean, and
Full
your
surprises.
butt
and-
wasn't
and-
up in the air.
No.
And he
knows-
did what?
now
How
she
many
knows
did you
what
do?
she's capable of.
200, right? You did 200 or something.
200, yeah.
They got to 3 before they quit. I had to edit out the rest.
But you were beating him, so that was good.
Yeah,
Always
normally a push-up for him involves more wrist than
Bicep?
It's like this. It's like
He reminds me of like the geckos, like on the trees where they're like peacocking.
Cliff, you got to come back with something against B-Love here. What do you got on? What's the dirt you have on him? What does he do wrong?
Well, I can tell you this: he can't plank, not at all. I mean, his
That's a
version
true
of a
story.
plank is like a boomerang. I mean, it looks like this when he's trying to play, and then I mean, it's not more than 10 seconds for a knees
but-
on the ground, and he's like
but
looking
it-
around.
But if,
Anybody
if
see me?
that-
Anybody
wait,
see me?
if that's his plank, is that because his feet are on the ground, his hands are on the ground, and then his stomach is somewhere on the ground in the middle, so it forces
Wow.
him to be a plank? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't know.
no,
No, that's not it. Okay.
10 seconds. It's a solid 35 seconds, Chief. It's a solid 35 seconds before I had to take a small break But yeah, I hate planks. Listen. In fact,
Did the Marine guy do it for like 8 hours?
If I got to cliff and exercise at boot camp, it would be plank walks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you want me to add those this week?
Yes, double.
Hey, by the way,
I will say that was one of the best birthday presents I have ever received from Cliff, which is why you guys are both my favorites. You bring different things to the table. Cliff gave me
like a true mom.
Cliff gave me a fire hose for my birthday one year. And it was amazing.
Was it still wet, like fresh from the truck?
I think he might have purchased it or figured out a place to
it had some holes in it.
Hey, if any viewers have
At
any
least
comments
2.
or questions for Ashley, now's the time to get them in here before she takes off. So utilize the comment section of your chosen platform, whether that be Facebook or YouTube.
She is a licensed personal trainer, right?
Yep, I teach yoga.
And available for hire in the Valrico area.
I don't like the way that was worded.
How do you say that? I mean, you're actively seeking clients. I mean, if you think
that doesn't help. That does not help.
It's almost sounding like Molly's game.
All right, listen,
that's how a photographer would say it, or a carpenter. Hey, I'm looking for work. I'm looking for clients. I'm taking on new members.
Clientele.
I don't know.
None of this is helping,
I'm
man.
expanding my clientele. Yeah.
Well, we actually had a T-shirt for you. We decided we need to get something else for you for doing this, by the way. But I said, I don't think Ashley can wear the Man Event T-shirt around town. It says the Man Event Entertainment on it. I'm not really sure that that's going to work out okay for you.
It's from one of Mr. Redner's establishments.
So
listen, in all seriousness, I will say this is that many don't know, and hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing this, but the injury-prone one of the duo did have a battle with cancer a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And bowed out, rightfully so, bowed out of boot camp for some time. And after going through all of that, and by the way, as far as we know, cancer-free. So after that, he comes to me and he says, hey, listen, I've put on a lot of weight because of all these steroids or whatever, all the stuff that you go to when you're battling that. And to motivate me to get back in shape, to get going, to lose that weight, I want to do one of these Spartan races. And so when your buddy who just went through cancer comes to you and basically asks, will you torture yourself in an effort to help me, get through this? What are you to say? I didn't really want to do it. But I did.
Here's a donation.
Here's a donation. But I did. But in seriousness, Ashley was a huge part of Cliff's post-cancer recovery. And, man, it's crazy because we're joking about, like not doing proper exercises and what have you. But I remember the first boot camp we did. Yeah. That was your first one after coming through all the cancer treatments and everything like that. And as much as he wanted to push through, Ashley was like, you guys, you're done for today. Yeah. And that was where you started from. But in the end, after tons of 5 a.m. workouts and what have you, we have done 3 Spartans now.
Woohoo. And
I'll tell you what, she's done 2 of the 3 with us. And the one that she didn't do, she was on vacation. We'll let her off the hook for that. But
she needed it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I did. I needed
a vacation from us.
Yes.
But she's been there right along with us. And I got so when are we going to get Spartan Strong again?
I mean, they're starting up again, luckily. So I'm happy that, certain things are reopening and that there are races reopening. That was one of the things that I feel like we really need to get back on that. And on the topic of Cliff, I would say you watch people, do races and work out and kill 100 reps, and you do this. The most inspirational thing I remember is Cliff when we started almost 3 years ago, trying to push through and knowing everything that his body had been through and yet showing up. And I think that's one of the key factors is that I like about you guys is that sure you complain, some more than the other, but you do show up and you bring a lot of laughter and joy to my day. sometimes there are some things that do squeak out that could be left.
You mean
Are
like
you saying they're farty?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly.
At 5:30 in the morning, I try and like hold off crunches as long as I can. I have been caught downwind of a couple, so
that's a
not
solid
very
strategy.
fortunate.
That's a solid strategy, by the way.
Yeah, there you go, Cliff.
No,
so
Cliff,
you got to tell us
which way
the
do I want to
truth.
go?
Is it Cliff? Who's the
it's
culprit?
both of them. It's both,
This
but
is
I
your
can never
chance.
tell. They blame on each other. So
This was your chance to give B-Love some payback.
I'm pretty sure it's queso. Maybe it's Jared.
well, how is Jared? Who invited Jared to boot camp?
So the big take out of all this is these guys fart a lot while working out. Okay, wow. I don't know. So I think Cliff and B-Love should do a pose off to see who's gotten the most results so far as he has a drink.
You want me to take my shirt off? Is that what you're asking?
Show us your guns or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
come on, guys.
Like the flex.
Yes. Oh, there it is. Ready?
Hey, we don't want to get demonetized before we get monetized.
All right, Cliff. Cliff, you got to come back with that.
Don't tear it. Don't tear it.
Oh, wow.
I think it's got a cramp. Oh, my gosh.
Don't tear it.
Cramp.
Okay.
So
I'm looking at the Spartan races, and I'm in, guys. Let's do another race.
When is one that we can get involved in, Cliff?
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do a race, film it, and make a short out of it.
We should do that.
We can bring everybody along. You know, comes out
I will absolutely 100% film it.
Could you imagine Pooh Bear trying to run alongside us?
I can see Pooh Bear.
He'd pull a hammy right
in
the
got a
first
solid head start. You know, he beats us to the next obstacle, and he films us doing it.
So we've done one. Okay, now there was a rope, and out of all of us, who made it up that rope?
Was it Chase?
No.
It was William.
No.
Oh, I think we
William
did make up the rope. If I'm not mistaken.
And then I feel like he got mad at that because right after that, the obstacle was like a bunch of punching bags, and you had to run through them. And I was to the left of Cliff and slightly behind, and he was shoving them, so they were like knocking me. It was almost like payback. I could feel it. And he's like,
So you're getting
those punching bags. I was behind Chase on those, I believe, and I was like, "Come on, let's go!" And I was.
I think you're getting abused out of this whole thing,
Chief. When is the next one we should put on our calendar?
I'm looking at them right now, and
so is this with Pooh Bear and Matty Ho? This is with Pooh Bear too.
If you read the bottom of your screen, it says 3/4 of the man event.
Do a Spartan.
So, that should let you know.
October 17th, Palm Beach has a sprint.
Oh yeah, I got to work that day.
Yeah.
So definitely Matt and B-Love and the Chief would be willing to go.
October 17th. I like it.
Oh,
we need to film it though.
12th is the Central Florida 5K sprint weekend. We've done that one. That's the one where we had to low crawl under the. Actually, missed that. We had to low crawl under the barbed wire.
It was like rocks. And it was like rocks.
By the way. Yeah, that really was.
And then you had to get knee surgery, right, Cliff?
I didn't need knee surgery, but I definitely needed.
I got knee surgery after one of them. I think so far
an injury waiting to happen, huh?
We've done 3 Spartans that resulted in 2 knee surgeries. What?
I didn't need knee surgery. I did, but I didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
I did.
Hey, Chief, did you say when was the Central Florida one?
Looks like December 12th.
December.
Yeah.
Listen, I like. Let's do the October-December challenge.
Oh.
Ooh. The October and December challenge.
Then wouldn't you know it? I have to work both days. It's amazing. Sucks.
All right, we need you to. What, can you take the day off and film it?
Come back around.
Maybe I'll see. You know, my boss is a real stickler for this sort of thing.
Ashley, let's go back to the video. What was your favorite part of the video?
My favorite part was when Brian shocked me. Essentially, he told me he was going to hit me with a hammer. I think my reaction was really what my reaction was. It was like, oh my gosh.
So I gotta be honest. Like when I watched that, First of all, I don't remember doing that.
You did it.
And then I was like, uh-oh. Like I was waiting for like people to be like, you hate women.
Oh, no.
Why would you hurt a woman? And I was like, oh man, I'm going to get fired from my real job.
Misogynist.
No, I think, but I will say the most realistic part of the video, no joke, under no circumstance, is once again two words: chicken biscuits. They talk about food from the start to the end.
Oh, man.
Cheat day.
Who are you talking to? Wait, I know this. I've known these guys for 20 years.
But food is very important.
But it's
come on.
where to the point where like the other clients, i.e. Stacy, will come up to me and she's like, do they really mean it? I don't think they do it. I'm like,
Yes.
no, I think they leave and they get donuts
Listen.
and they get chicken biscuits. And like,
I'm
like, I wake up for these people and I'm like, they're just throwing all the effort away.
I'm going to bring the reality into this situation. So the very first short that we ever filmed was Flag Day.
Yeah.
And
Flagpole Day, yep.
Flagpole Day, immediately when it was over, we ate 2 Babes pizzas.
No joke.
And they were
2
good.
Babes pizzas.
They were
Wow.
doubles.
So for those of you
Double
who
deckers.
are not from Brandon, Florida, and don't realize that Babes Pizza is an institution, Babes is world famous for the double decker pizza.
Very
So
good
essentially, we ate 4 pizzas.
Yes. That's one
Amongst
pizza
us.
per. One
They were
pizza per.
they were
So,
delicious.
But we worked our butts off that
So
day. I
guys-
don't think we had lunch.
No. Let's go back to the first question, Cliff.
I knew that was
What
coming.
your first question? What was your first question, Cliff?
Is it your fault?
That
Yes.
you can't. That after 3 years, you guys are roughly the same. Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
pizza.
I think you just answered it. You guys came, there was a McDonald's bag, and I said, what's with the McDonald's bag? And you guys said it was a prop. It was never used, and it was consumed.
Oh, you mean during the shoot?
from Saturday?
Yeah,
Well,
that
yeah,
was me.
you know, Matt had to eat.
That was me. I'm guilty.
Matt,
Yeah.
Man who
okay.
only eats
I
vegetables.
had I
To
had a
be
couple of
honest-
spicy chicken sandwiches.
To be honest, he brought a protein bar. He brought like a Cliff, the all natural one with nuts and berries and stuff in it.
Yep.
But it needed to be used for a prop, so I asked him not to eat it. Well, I probably told him not to eat it, and he didn't.
And then
So
I was starving.
he sent Kaylee to the store to get him some McDonald's. So that's what happened. So he did bring a healthy breakfast. It just, didn't work.
And then I
out,
settled on a couple of spicy chicken sandwiches.
which is
Oh,
way better. Just a
and
better
they are
choice.
good. Yep.
I mean,
Life's
there's
too
protein
short to
somewhere.
live on granola. I look at it this way: you can live what a few days without water, right?
Sure.
Yep. 3 days.
And you can live like a month and a half without food, right?
3 weeks. It's the rule of threes.
But
Yeah, it's 3-3.
but you can live like 80, 90 years without exercise.
Proof. 47.
I'm gonna write that down. That is, you can lose under your.
So my point is, you eat McDonald's and live longer. I don't know. Well, thank you very much for coming, Ashley.
Yeah, you're really hurting me right now. Like my soul hurts.
All right, so listen, before we wrap up here with Ashley and get on with the rest of the show, one of the things we've been discussing amongst ourselves is doing a weight loss challenge.
I like it.
And so what we're talking, and obviously Matt of the 4 of us is the only one who eats vegetables.
And McDonald's.
I'm
But
on
not
a
exclusively.
I am on a strict no vegetable diet. I don't know about these other 2 clowns outside of Matt, but here's what we were thinking about doing is each picking a different diet. Like one of us doing keto, one of us doing Weight Watchers, one of us counting calories. There's this new one I see on Facebook called Noom or Zoom or something like that, right?
Noom.
But anyways, us each picking a different diet, and at the same time training to do a Spartan.
Oh.
2 of us training to do the Spartan, one of us training to film it. And anyways, we get on the show every week and we talk about our struggles, our wins, our losses. What do you think?
So what would keep you committed? Because I feel like you have to have like either a monetary or I think maybe the person who, I don't know, doesn't lose the most that week or their circumference of their muscle or they're flexing or whatever. I think maybe there should be a punishment.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
Oh, I do not like that.
I don't like it either.
I like that.
I like that idea.
I like that
You're
idea a lot.
grounded.
I think because you got to be all in. You know, there's got to be either you got to hit them where it hurts, either monetarily. You know, like if that's your reward,
I don't like
or
it where it hurts either. That
Well, I guess the question is, does it need to be weight loss or does it need to be a fitness goal? Because sometimes losing, just because you're skinny
Weight
doesn't
could be
mean you're
difficult,
healthy.
right,
That's
right, right,
true.
right.
That way you
Oh,
can get
listen,
involved too,
I'm the
man.
healthiest fat guy you've ever met.
You're skinny fat.
Warren Sapp disagrees with you.
He thinks he's the healthiest fat guy ever.
I bet he was.
Well, he made enough money out of it, I guess. I don't know.
I think you should think of a good enough punishment that none of you guys want to endure or encounter week to week, or change it, or like even pull it out of like a hat or like a jar, right? All these like horrible, atrocious punishments you guys could think for each other,
All right.
and then
How
pull it out.
How about this? How Pooh Bear, the chief, how would you feel about empowering Ashley to come up with some rules of the Man Event weight loss challenge?
I don't like that one bit.
Here, I got a punishment. I got a really good punishment. So here's a punishment. I got a punishment for the challenge. So if we have a week, one of the punishments, and especially this is a punishment if B-Love loses, he has got to eat a salad bowl full of steamed broccoli.
Oh shit!
Ooh, that is a punishment.
Wait, you don't like broccoli?
No, well, it's green.
Apparently, he doesn't like vegetables.
Green.
Ashley, let me tell you, when we get
it's getting real.
one of the things we do, us four guys do, is during the football season, we get together at someone's house every week.
You make horrible food.
Well, here's the thing. They came the first time. I think they came over my house, right? I wanted to impress and do all that. And Dawn, my wife, Dawn, she made a salad, and these guys almost killed me.
By the way,
they threatened me with never coming over again.
She's like 2% body fat, by the way.
Yeah, my wife is a workout fiend.
She's from the same town you're from, Ashley. She only eats green things. She doesn't eat meat or something.
I like her.
She's not a vegetarian or a vegan, but she's a workout fanatic. And she gets up at 4:30 and runs half marathons. So she did one this week again. And then
this is definitely not happening.
A week and stuff, but
that is definitely not happening.
I don't know who that person is, but they're getting unfriended.
Jennifer, I like Jennifer.
Negative Ghost Rider. That pattern is full.
Jennifer, put in the first suggestion. I'm really interested to see it. But anyway, so these guys have threatened me every time. If I bring a vegetable, if I have a vegetable at the Sunday football game watching parties we have, I'm going to be ostracized. I'm going to be kicked out.
Yeah.
So no vegetable.
At minimum, we're going to send you for Chinese.
So on that boat, after 3 years, I've known these guys for longer than 3 years. But after 3 years of doing boot camp, I finally got the Holy Grail, and I got invited to the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
The last Super Bowl. And there were some rules. There were two that Cliff gave me. I am not allowed to bring anything healthy, and that I had to bring and drink alcohol.
We gave her a Jaeger bomb.
Yeah, I had my first Jaeger bomb. I had my first martini. I had my first.
Was it a martini or a Manhattan?
Manhattan. I had my first Manhattan, and then I had Cliff's wife gave me vodka and what is it? Cranberry.
Did Patrick make a shot for you?
No.
Terrible shot guy. Patrick.
Hey, listen. Speaking of that, though, the very first Spartan that we ever did. Yeah. We carpooled over to St. Augustine, Jacksonville, wherever that was at. And we stopped for lunch. And do you remember where we stopped for lunch?
And so I have never been to one of them before. I have never been to one of them since. But it's fine dining, I guess. So I'm told, and it's
it was delicious.
Yes. And I had never been, and I'm like, I literally said, you guys know I'm a vegetarian. Why would you take a vegetarian to Hooters?
They had salads.
Cliff goes, there's salads there. There's salads.
Was I wrong?
That was a fun trip. And then after the Spartan, we went to I think Cracker Barrel
for breakfast.
And Cliff got 3 meals.
Oh man, that was
Uncle Herschel's favorite.
there was for sure French toast was involved. I guarantee you that.
Yes,
Hash browns,
100%.
yeah.
There was biscuits. You had biscuits. You had
Oh,
you
that I
had a
did.
lot.
Oh,
That's
man.
terrific.
Man.
All right, so we have viewers wanting to talk about C.H.A.Z.
That's coming up. We're going to talk about that, right?
We may need to slide into that.
No, let's get it. We can get into that now. Ashley, any parting thoughts?
No, just stick with your goals. Make sure that you make them sustainable. And before you start throwing daggers and swords at each other, make sure that your plank is just as good, Cliff.
Ooh.
I may have missed that. I was zoned out. I might have been reading the comment when she said that.
I mean, howitzer.
All I can say is boot camp's going to be fun this week, guys. Good luck.
Oh, yeah. We got a 5 a.m.er this week.
Bye, Stash.
Yeah, we got a 5 a.m. You're right. Wednesday, 5 a.m.
Wednesday,
Hey,
5 a.m.
you got to eat big to feed these guns. That's what someone said.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I believe that. Flex it out. Flex it out.
Takes a lot of
guys.
protein.
Ashley,
Yeah.
thank you.
Bye,
Thanks for
Ashley.
coming.
Thank you,
guys, for
Ashley.
having me.
And if anyone is seriously interested in training with Ashley, just reach out to the main event on Facebook. We'll get
Or
you
Pooh
in
Bear.
contact. For what?
I said, or train with Pooh Bear.
Oh no, I've got a wedding that day. I can't make it. So, but if seriously, if you would like to work out with her, hit us up on Facebook or YouTube. We'll get you in contact with her so you can make that happen. All right. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Ash.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
That was fun.
Good times. Good times.
That was fun. So we're going to move on to C.H.A.Z. I have not heard. I'd never heard of C.H.A.Z. until.
Well, we actually have a representative from C.H.A.Z. Watching. I
Yes.
tagged him in Facebook. So someone here from Washington is actually
and
logged in.
other.
And
So
he
you don't-
invited us.
So do you know what C.H.A.Z. is?
No,
Yes.
absolutely
So
not.
let me fill you guys in on this for a second. Okay, C.H.A.Z. is an acronym for the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. They are actually trying to change the acronym now to Capitol Hill Occupying Protest, something like that. So they want to make it either C.H.A.Z. or CHOP, whichever one you want to go with. Either way, these guys have taken over a 6 city blocks in downtown Seattle, and I don't even know what they're protesting anymore. Now they're just being there. But the fact is that they've had it there for about a week. They've occupied this place for about a week. They kicked the police out of their precinct. They have a precinct in this area. The police vacated it. They took it over. Okay. And this hasn't made national news anywhere. I mean, this should be the lead story on every network. It doesn't matter if it's local or national. It should be on, MSN.com, and nobody is talking about it. And I don't understand why.
All right. So I have a question here. What is a warlord toady?
What?
Warlord Toady. That's one of the comments.
I'm
right?
thinking they were saying second ward today. They were taking over a second ward.
Second warlord.
There's
a guy there. He's kind of in charge of the place. They call him Simone. Raz Simone is his name. He's a rapper, I believe.
This is the rapper, yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of taken over the place. He's the only guy that has guns there, and so I guess he's in charge.
No, he's not the only one. The people guarding.
They all kind of report to him, though, is what I understand.
Right.
Having not been there myself.
All right. So I have some questions.
Right off the bat. Go ahead.
Raz is a warlord. I'm one of the other warlords.
There you go.
Wow. Okay. So I got some questions. So if I understand correctly, the government has left or has been overrun by C.H.A.Z.
The local government vacated. So the police department, the police that were occupying their headquarters.
So now
precinct,
C.H.A.Z. occupies the police precinct in that area.
The citizens.
Yeah.
Okay. And are they part of the United States of America, or have they formed their own government?
They have declared to be their own non-government regulated zone, but they are still Seattle residents.
And just to be clear, or I want to make sure I'm clear, but that I'm right, but I believe that the police vacated it at the direction of the mayor, right?
And the police chief.
Yes, that is true.
I think
Okay, so they weren't overtaken.
No,
they weren't overtaken. They gave up.
Well, they were getting.
Yeah, they walked out.
They were getting bombarded. They were getting vandalized, rocks thrown through the windows, that kind of thing.
Right, but I don't think it was the police chief. I think it was the mayor. I think the police chief was against leaving. I think, but someone can correct me.
I think you may be right. There was some. Well, she asked them to go by the direction of the mayor, but then apologized basically for it later on, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor
So-
equals a friend of C.H.A.Z.
The mayor is a friend of C.H.A.Z. Okay, so whoever
me get
Mr.
the
or
facts
Miss
straight.
and other is,
He's the other warlord, apparently.
Tell me,
Yeah.
tell me more.
So, there's a story coming out of there that, they brought all this food in, and then the homeless stole all their food.
Right.
Uh-oh.
It's
But
a
no
comedy of errors. It's a comedy of errors.
No rules, no police,
Right.
and then they had just I think it was yesterday or the day before, they had their first incident of their own self-policing brutality where there was a graffiti guy, he was tagging somebody else's work apparently, and there were guns pulled on him, and I'm not exactly how far it got, but anyway, some of it was videotaped until the phones were taken from them, and then we really don't know what happened after that. So, I mean, the idea that you can self-police without violence is just non-existent.
Well, and
All
you
right.
know, they also had a dumpster fire last night, or the day before. A literal,
Wait a minute.
Oh,
This
this
whole
entire
thing, this whole thing is a dumpster fire.
right?
Come
The
on.
metaphor. So they have
Well-
a fire. It's in the dumpster, and guess who put it out?
I have no
The
idea.
fireman.
The
The
Seattle
C.H.A.Z.
Fire Department. They called the fire department. Here they are trying to say, no, we don't need government. What do they do?
Well,
They call the fire department.
I will
So
say
my
that
thing is,
I did
Go
see
ahead,
the other day that the police chief was able to walk into the autonomous zone. She was able to walk into the autonomous zone with some officers. They went to the precinct. I'm not exactly sure what they did. And, they kind of were escorted in. They did whatever they had to do, and they were escorted out. There was no violence. I understand, another is telling us, there is actually very little violence there. And, the police were able to get in and get out, without any violence. So, I mean, good job on that one.
So,
really quick, my thing with this is, okay, what's the end game? What is,
that's my question.
what speaks success, or what dictates success, or what's your goal? And that's pretty much with everything. If you're going to have a rising or an uprising or a challenge or whatever else, there's got to be a goal or an end game.
And
What is it? What are they trying to?
It seems at this
accomplish here?
point it's anarchy. It's every man for himself. We've got this vision of this utopia that doesn't involve government override or overseeing, and yet there's living on government streets, government buildings, government water, government electricity. Probably, I don't know if Seattle provides their own electricity or if it's a private utility, but they're relying on all these things, that the infrastructure that was already established by local governments, and calling it, well, it's ours now. So and there
Isn't
may
that
be
theft?
Of course it's theft. It's well, at least in Nashville they tried to do the same thing. In Asheville, North Carolina, they tried to do the same thing. Several other places were attempted this weekend, and they were all shut down by the local authorities.
Right. I remember the mayor of Nashville said, "Don't even
Don't
bother
even try.
trying."
Yeah. I think they're going to try it in Polk County next. And Grady Judd said he's fine
I
with it.
don't think that's a good idea.
I was going to say, unless, man, you don't
He's
know.
cool with it.
No, no, you don't want to go to Polk County and pull. You don't want to be you don't want to be a criminal of any kind in Polk County.
No.
Right.
And part of
it might be the safest county in America.
Let them run with this and fail, and let's see how gloriously they fail, because it will fail. There's never been an organized get together or society that's done this successfully. It's never happened.
Right. Now you look at some other things, right? Like you got I understand people trying to challenge government or hold government accountable, right? Look at the Boston Tea Party, for example, right?
Yes.
No
taxation without representation.
Right, taxation without representation, and so that's one of the great things about America is you get to have a voice, you get to do certain things. Now you don't get to break the law, or you shouldn't be able to break the law, and I don't think you're going to win nearly as many people over to your point of view, or at least your perspective, to understand your perspective when you do things in such an anarchaic way, or but. So I'm real curious before I make any firm judgments. I'm never in favor of just being unlawful, but like maybe another person here, if they're really from C.H.A.Z. or know a lot about it, tell us what really is your goal. I know, but what is the end goal? What is your where do you want? What are your demands, so to speak?
I don't know if they've made demands yet.
So,
I know the president said that
maybe they're just having fun.
Well, the president said if the governor and the mayor don't do something about it, he will, which would involve sending the military.
God. Here we go.
And I don't know that he has that authority.
It's not. That's a no-win situation, because now there's somebody's going to get hurt.
Here's the first thing. Going forward, you have to require that you are referred to as the C.H.A.Z. It's got to be the C.H.A.Z. It just sounds cool.
The
Right.
Chapel
The
Hill, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone
Right.
country.
There you go. The C.H.A.Z.
But there are legitimate people that own businesses down there that can't either get to them or can't function the way they want to. There are people that live down there that can't get there or can't get out the way they want to. I mean, you're essentially holding people hostage that may not want this to happen to their city. Even if a large number of people do, because apparently from the videos I've seen, it is like a little, I don't know, like a Woodstocky kind of hippie loving area. People smoking weed and eating brownies and doing their thing. Nobody's getting hurt. They're not really harming anyone.
Pooh Bear said brownies.
But if I'm down, if I've got a bakery down there and I can't function the way I want to, or if I've got a law office or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. I've got the right to operate a business, and it's not happening because of this, then that's a travesty, and that's where this needs to stop. That's where my internal struggle comes. I want to see it fail.
Where are the local authorities?
They vacated. They're allowing it to happen.
So now you need to put it on the voters to say, I'm going to stop this by getting rid of these people who are elected officials.
So why isn't this in the news? Someone tell me.
That's a good question.
Why isn't this the lead story on the NBC Nightly News, CBS, Fox, everyone else, or our cable shows? Why are we the leading news authority on the C.H.A.Z?
Well,
keep in mind,
I can't say I haven't watched.
First of all, to say that we're the leading news authority is, that's very thin.
But it may be factual because nobody else is talking about it.
So, I mean, I would imagine the chief, by the way, it's not just chief, it's the chief, like it's the C.H.A.Z.
Right.
So the chief, I would imagine it's because the C.H.A.Z. Just doesn't have a whole lot of traction. Nobody's taking it seriously.
No, it doesn't matter. If it's one square block in the middle of Nowheresville,
it's a serious event.
What about the premise? Yeah, what about the premise behind it?
And the chief, I would still ask the question going to Matt is what's the end game? Why this response? And what is it in a response to? Then I apologize if I'm coming across ignorant. But I literally have not seen this anywhere until I started to prepare to be on this show today.
Well, what's got me is these aren't foreigners or people that are outside the city. This is Seattle's residents, right? So these are the people that have been living and voting for the people they want in charge for, conceivably forever. So why are you that unhappy with the type of government that you've been given? Because that's what you've been asking for, right? You're voting for people that share common values with you and the beliefs you share. They're giving it to you, but yet all of a sudden that's not good enough anymore. You want to take it over. So what's he say? All news loves. So I haven't seen. I've cut off cable and I haven't really watched the local news or evening news in quite some time. Because
keep in mind too.
Yeah,
MSNBC, NBC,
if it's
CNN.
If it's not on Netflix, it's pretty much not relevant.
Well, to the point of the news is that all of them but Fox basically are owned by the conglomerate, these left wing, like George Soros type conglomerate. So they all make money off of this chaos, right? The more chaos there is, the more news they get, the more revenue they make.
Started, Maddie. Don't get me started. So here's the thing. This is my opinion. These are no longer news channels.
Right.
These are opinion shows, right?
Correct.
When the anchor gets paid a contract based on their number of viewers, the same way a regular television show on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, whatever, would get paid. That is no longer a news show. It is an opinion show. And unfortunately, the average person in our country probably doesn't know the difference.
Right.
Well, there is no opinionless news. Just give us the facts.
It's no different than watching Judge Judy.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, but you're right, because that goes back to what I was saying. All these news programs, the ones I mentioned, they make money off of this chaos. When they drum up more and more, riots or more and more whatever the heck else, people turn to the news. They make money off of that. They make money
you can
off
almost
advertising,
the viewership
and everything. Follow the money.
You can almost hear
Guaranteed.
how excited they are when we have some sort of a catastrophe coming. Like when there's a hurricane coming here locally, I mean, they're foaming at the mouth to talk about what's going to happen, the damage that's going to happen, and people are going to be evacuated. They can't wait because they know you're going to be forced to tune in to find out more, and that's when they can share their opinions.
And they got 24 hours to fill.
I'll give you an example of it for me that really hit home. Is do you guys remember the tragedy that happened in Las Vegas, the mass shooting at I don't remember which hotel it was. I apologize.
Country Festival, and it was the Rio. I think no, it wasn't the Rio.
No, it was one of the majors. It was one of the majors.
MGM.
All right, so
MGM.
No, it wasn't MGM, but it was one of the majors. So I was in Boston at the time for work, and from time to time, while I'm traveling, sometimes I might spend an entire workday just in my hotel. Like I don't have any meetings or offices to go to or something like that. And this was one of those particular days where I spent the majority of my workday in a hotel. And it was like the day after that tragedy, and flipping between two different news sources, and I'll let them remain nameless here. They were reporting the same story in two completely different, like it is one fact, right, that this tragedy happened, but why it was reported in two different ways, I can't, like, it is a fact. There was a shooting at this festival from this hotel, but the way that they were reporting it was two completely different ways. How can that be if it wasn't for just, this is our opinion versus theirs?
Agenda. That's why they got an agenda. They want to push a view, and right now everybody wants to push an anti-conservative, anti-Trump view.
It's the old telephone game, You
Mandalay Bay, yes, it was Mandalay Bay.
You could look up, or you could tell a story to two different people with different inflection in your voice or different, different amount of urgency, and the message will get conveyed differently. That's why text messaging has such a hard time sometimes getting the message across.
100%. Text messages or email
content.
You lose the human element.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's just about our perception. The person telling us about the news can be, if they're in a bad mood, it may come across as a negative type of story. But if they're in a good mood, or if they're using bright and cheery facial expressions, then it might be a different story. So part of it may be that, but there are news outlets that have completely different slants, and it's getting more and more to where they're not hiding it any longer. It used to be where you could kind of, okay, well, maybe this guy thinks this way or she thinks that way, and they just can't tell you, the news. But it's getting to the point where now, where at least last time I watched, they weren't hiding it anymore. It was pretty much channel, channel runs this line, this channel runs that line.
Man, bring back Walter Cronkite.
Hey, so I have a thought. What is the chance? What is the chance that the Chinese are behind this?
Oh my God!
Just think about it.
We're going this.
Behind what?
Behind these riots and the protests. Who has anything to gain by unsettling America right now, other than the fact that Trump is standing up there pointing the finger at the Chinese nonstop, saying the Chinese gave us Corona, Chinese did this, and that China.
The chief.
The C.H.A.Z.
I thought this was a sports show.
we may have just uncovered a massive espionage operation going on in Seattle right now.
Well, we do talk sports, but we talk about a lot of things, right? We cover stuff. We're interesting people. We got good minds on it. But here's the thing, Cliff. I don't. The chief. Sorry, I don't know that you're that's all that far off. And I mean it. What you see here,
right there, one.
Well, think about it this way, right? You take, like I just said, follow the money. People always want to make money. I'm telling you, man. Okay, so it's very easy to sow discourse and start dividing people.
Right.
You force people to start. You give them anything, an air of legitimacy. The news said it. It's got to be legit. And you start people's mindset, and then people are like sheep, man. They'll jump on a bandwagon and whatever.
Well, I mean,
I guarantee you this is not just organic. It's just not.
Maddie, I saw it on Facebook. It must be true.
I wouldn't say Facebook is true, but You
Hey,
can't trust the news.
I'm chazzed out. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, we can move on.
I'm done with the C.H.A.Z.
The chop.
Let's talk sports then.
Chop.
Pooh Bear,
Yo,
start us off, brother.
man, big sports news this week. It probably wasn't that big to a lot of people, but I think there's a lot of traction this is going to have. Let's put it that way. In Florida, Governor DeSantis worked it out with the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, that any member, any athlete, collegiate athlete, will be able to use their likeness and their name for profit, essentially. In the past, that's always been a problem with things like video games. They couldn't use the player's likeness or their name because they couldn't pay the athletes because that's against the student athlete rules. So my vision on this, what I'm seeing is about to happen, is the rich are going to get richer. The large programs that can afford these backdoor deals with car dealerships and home contractors, roofers, they're going to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to give your guy more money if he comes here instead of going cross town, cross state.
I'll tell you why
That's what's going to happen.
But Pooh Bear, I thought I read that the money cannot come directly from the university.
Okay.
That the athlete has to get paid through a third party.
Come from the university.
Understandingly that the university or the boosters are going to set up some of these contracts. But listen, here's my thing, and I'm sure we're going to go down a rabbit hole with this, but how much money did Tim Tebow make the University of Florida?
Don't know. The same amount they made for him.
That dude would have made more money off of selling his jerseys, his likeness, etc., than he ever made as a professional football player in the 4 years that he spent at the University of Florida. And my personal opinion is he deserved a cut of that.
Well, how many stadiums did Tim Tebow build? How many television contracts did he put into place? How many other students?
None.
So basically, it is the entrepreneur versus the customer or the employee.
So
the
I feel
entrepreneur built the institution.
It's going to hurt the teams. I think it's at some era, at some level, it's going to have to. You're going to have one Tim Tebow getting paid on the team, getting paid a lot. He's going to be doing car commercials or whatever it is.
Yeah, let's remember, by the way, Percy Harvin was on that team too.
Yeah.
Right. So was the guy who, murdered somebody.
Aaron
Hernandez was on that team too. So yeah, Cliff, I see your point.
Yeah, you're going to still, college students, I've been a college student. I was poor, I had worked at, Publix, stuff like that, just to, have enough money for the weekends. But
working at Publix.
Nothing's wrong with working at Publix. I'm just saying that's what I had to do, sack groceries.
That's what he had to do. And up until this point, it's been illegal. Well, not illegal, but it's been against the rules.
At least everybody was on a level playing field while you were students, now you're going to have a kid driving up, and you're going to have, a few kids on the team are going to drive up with brand new cars. Everybody else on the team is, some of them are going to come with cars that, they were hand-me-downs from their parents. Others are just going to be just as poor as the day they walked in. They're not going to. It's going to be the haves and have-nots on the same team.
Right. So if you've got a car dealership in Birmingham, Alabama, giving out cars and $1,000 bills, why would you not go to Alabama? Why would you want to go to Auburn? Why would you want to go to Georgia?
I don't know, Cliff. I see your argument here, but here's the thing. So I went to Bloomingdale High School, home of the Bulls. Preach it, Pooh Bear.
Championship.
Wasn't Pooh Bear a quarterback over there? Something over there.
I played left out.
Class of 1994.
Played left out.
Young.
By the way, in the 3 years that I attended Bloomingdale High School, home of the Bulls, I think we won 2 football games.
They're going to be the state champions this year.
However, in the area, the district that the average student went to, Bloomingdale at the time, was probably the highest per capita income in the area, right? The maybe not. South Tampa is probably number 1 in Hillsborough County, but outside of that, but it was a school of the haves and have-nots. Pooh Bear, wouldn't you agree? You were there.
Sure, just like any segment of society is going to be that way.
I don't know that there's anything wrong with the haves and the have-nots.
There isn't anything wrong with that, but
Hey, listen,
that's different.
Like I said a couple of weeks ago on this show,
man,
there are winners and there are losers.
But
here's the thing.
That is a natural boundary of the winners and losers. This is a fabricated winner loser. This is setting it up before.
Not only that, this is the people making the money from the actual sport. You're talking about someone's parents made money, they made money in a career doing something different, and they happen to play sports. They're two totally different animals here. You're not comparing apples to apples. But let me just a couple of quick things on the money, right? First off, you're right. The school can in no way pay the players or be involved in any way because you can't make an employer-employee relationship out of it. Right. So the schools can be involved in no way. Where you're going to find the problem, the disparity between schools, where you're going to find the issue is Florida made a law, right? Now, Pooh, to correct you a little bit, they did not do it in concert with the NCAA. They did it despite the NCAA, and the NCAA is getting on board with, because California did it first, right? California, I think, then Colorado. So Florida made a law that goes into effect in July of 2021. Actually, they're beating the other two states. They're doing it quicker. So now the NCAA has to catch up. Where you're going to find the issue with people going to Florida schools, say, versus California schools, is if Florida's laws allow the players, for whatever reason, to make more money. And that's where you start getting the disparity in the sports, because these players are going to go where they can make more money.
And the smaller schools too. So Florida, the University of Florida in Gainesville is going to be able to recruit the Florida International,
Florida Atlantic,
or North Florida, or USF for that matter.
Pooh Bear. So I know you've done a little bit of research on this topic, preparing to be on the show today. So Matt, you just made me ask a question. So this is a Florida thing, but hasn't necessarily been signed off by the NCAA.
Oh no, they're trying to figure all this out. Right. And what's happening is sorry to hijack it. I don't mean to, but
no, it's fine.
What's happening now is what the NCAA is really hoping, and I think what really needs to happen here is the federal government needs to make the law before all the individual states go into effect and do that, because then at least it's a level playing field. It's the same all.
The states are getting out in front.
Right.
The states are getting out in front, basically saying it's not the state's fault that the NCAA is not letting you do this. He's right. The NCAA is the overall deciding factor of whether or not this needs to happen. Hopefully, the federal government doesn't get involved in this. I don't think they need to be in this.
I think they have to.
They're gonna get involved, but
because it's the NCAA's rule that a student athlete can't earn money. That's the NCAA rule. That's not a federal law. That's not a state law. It's not a local law.
But they're gonna lose the case, because the states are going to make the laws, and the kids are going to get paid whether the NCAA likes it or not. So the NCAA's the only choice is either you get on board and find a way to make it work for you, or people are going to do it anyway, and the NCAA can dissolve. Someone else will start an agency, and it'll start all over.
Right, which is probably what ultimately needs to happen.
Is there a risk where certain states could ratify this and others not?
Right.
Sure.
Right, because then, like, the state of Florida would have a recruiting advantage over, say, the state of Maryland if they don't. Yeah.
That's one of the concerns the NCAA has is now, and let's say Maryland makes a law that says they can, but they can only make $5,000 a year. But Florida says make as much as you want. Incidentally, Florida does have a caveat. The payments must be, and I guess I got to look up exactly how they're defining this, but they're saying the payments must be commensurate with market value. So I'm not sure what that means. I guess we'll find out. Well, let's say California's law doesn't have that, and kids say, "Oh, I'll go to UCLA, or I'll go to USC because I can make more money there as a player." And those are the advantages the NCAA is really concerned about.
Do you guys think it's a good idea to invest in a 18-year-old spokesperson that has never had this type of money or freedom before? I mean, next thing you know, the guy's he's stealing crab legs out of Publix, and you've got this. You've got situation. And you've got a lot of money and your reputation tied to him.
I do think that's a risk, and I the other thing that would concern me,
in a heartbeat,
Chief, is that you're talking about very young kids making a very decent amount of income and having to have influence from agents and accountants and et cetera. And I just think that's I think you are asking for a little bit of trouble. And maybe the solution is something along the lines of, hey, you don't actualize the money right now, but maybe you actualize the money once you go pro, or something like that.
They can take a loan against that money. They'll get it sooner or later.
That's not the issue. The issue is that they don't have any money to spend while they're going to school, right? So they don't have a way to take a girl out on a date. They don't have a way to go get food that's not on campus. So that's what they're trying to capture and provide these athletes with, because this is not just football and basketball. This is the swimming team. This is the lacrosse team. This is
what about the guy who's in a psychology class?
No dude on the lacrosse team is going to make any money.
Oh, don't you mess with lacrosse, man. What about the student who's taking psychology classes? And all right, and then you have the school who's let's take a medical school, and they're investing a lot, and these students are working on medical discoveries. Maybe they discover a way to a new catheter or a new whatever. They make it up, right? The individual students don't necessarily profit from that. They get their education, then they can go out when they get their degree, and they can go in the real world and make money and do all that.
So
so what about these athletes, right? They're supposed to be there to get an education, and this is a stepping stone to a profession where when you become a professional, you get paid. Now you're getting paid, quote unquote, not for playing the sport. You're getting paid for your likeness and your image, which is directly tied to playing the sport. Okay.
What I would say to that, though, Matt,
I'm not so sure that's a good idea.
I don't know that it's fair, though, for the university to profit off of a player who's unable to profit off of their own skill set on the field. I hear your argument about, you've got this great brainiac or whatever, and that's there for the but that person's not making the university any money.
Sure they are. What in their research and their development? Besides that, the only reason the athlete has a platform is because the school provides it, right?
Correct.
The school has a team. Okay. That you can't, I don't buy into the argument that the school's making all this. The school does make money off the program and off individuals because they become popular. Okay. So if you want to argue, what are they doing with that money? That's a separate discussion we could have, and that'd be different. But you're opening a can of worms, because like Cliff said earlier, you're going to have the third string kicker on the same team as the what's his name? Crab boy.
Jameis.
Yes.
Jameis.
And Jameis pulls up in a Tesla or a Mercedes that he's getting because his face is all over national TV because some advertiser decided to take a gamble on him, and they will be just like they do for professional athletes who can get in trouble just as easily. So they will line up behind these players in a heartbeat. I think Cliff is onto something when he says it's going to really negatively affect college sports as a whole, and I think they're cannibalizing themselves.
So go ahead, Pooh Bear.
Well, what needs to happen? So they're not addressing the real problem. The real problem is they're saying is that players can't benefit off their likeness, but the real problem is that they're saying they don't have enough. They're not getting any compensation for playing at the school other than the education. Okay, so they get a scholarship. They get board. They get a place to stay. They get their books for free. They get their meals for free.
And that compensation?
There's no other compensation after that.
No, that is compensation.
No,
I
agree.
Value.
I
That's
agree.
a lot coming from the guy that's writing checks, twice a semester right now.
And I'm not saying it's money. Not. So they're one of their complaints is that, hey, we don't have enough walking around money. We don't have any pocket money. So this is a simple fix, in my opinion. Take some of that money that they're making off of the TV deals and put a little stipend aside, $1,000 a month for each player across all sports. Huh?
That's horse poo.
Well, it might be.
Why?
Every one of those student athletes worth their salt has walking around money.
Oh, that part.
Well, they're getting $100. They're getting $100 handshakes everywhere they go.
Maybe.
Hey, bartender, do you see those couple of guys over there at that table? Make sure before that they leave.
And the reality is
that
they go to the movie theater. They probably know the guy's taking tickets behind the counter, or the person selling popcorn, or the manager. They're not paying for movies. They're not paying for food.
I didn't pay for movies when I went to college because I knew
there
the
you
guy.
go.
I guarantee you they're not paying.
And that's why Jameis got in trouble with the crab legs, is because he already had a deal worked out with the dude behind the counter. He's like, yeah, come get crab legs whenever you want. He just happened to get caught because the dude wasn't there that day. And somebody else that didn't go to school with him said, whoa, wait a second. That was the whole story. Same thing.
He also threw a lot of interceptions last year.
Of course.
Maybe a grease on those fingers.
So the other side of this is, if you want to address the real problem, which is the higher tier athletes not being able to profit, you need to form another league. You need to actually form a minor league for the NFL.
Whoa,
because that's what this is, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a minor league source for the NBA and a minor league source for the NFL.
Wasn't that the XFL?
Yeah, kind of.
It's-
Just
Or
do
players
that.
will make money when they
Well,
graduate.
So here's the reality. Here's the athletes we're talking about. We're talking about football
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about basketball.
Basketball, right? Those
Okay,
two.
now
Pretty much.
I don't know. I haven't looked. Pooh Bear, you're the guy probably on this call who has, but the Major League Baseball draft was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Of the first round draft picks, how many of them were college versus how many of them were high school players?
Probably about 30%.
Were college.
Yeah.
So
of them were either
70% of the first round draft picks in the
high school
MLB draft were high school.
and international.
Okay, so they don't count. So
Right.
baseball doesn't count, is what I'm saying. The NHL, I don't know where they get players from.
From college.
Canada.
Okay.
Russia.
So okay.
Yeah,
a lot of
So
college.
again, you guys are making my point. So the two sports we're talking
Yeah.
about here is football and
Yep.
basketball.
And that's
Oh,
what
no.
I'm saying. Be
Women's
honest.
volleyball is on ESPN at like maybe 10 o'clock at night on some channels. Maybe
Okay.
the Ocho.
And
Maybe
that's what I'm
the-
saying.
so-
there's
There
no
needs to
one.
be an honest discussion about this. Quit hiding behind these other reasonings and just get down to it. You need compensation for the athletic, those two sports, football and basketball.
They
at the
make
college
plenty of
level.
money. Those two sports make plenty of money for
The
those
players don't.
universities.
How come
But
no
the
one's
players
arguing
don't.
that? What
Listen,
about
I
the
don't
money?
disagree with you. I believe if the university is making money off of you, again, I'll go back to Tim Tebow. How many number 15 jerseys did the University of Florida sell in the 4 years he was there? The man deserves a cut.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't
You-
think
you-
so. I think it creates a lot more problems than you're solving. You know,
Right.
if you want to
Well,
talk
Matt,
about the money
we
and
can't be
and-
friends anymore.
Okay.
So
I still
that's
love
the
you,
way
man.
That's the way the world works now.
I
So
know,
if you
but-
would please leave the show. I
we're,
was here first. I logged in first.
we
But-
can
and
get
that's-
along.
And that's
We
the
can-
argument. He was
We can find
compensated.
common ground.
He was
What-
compensated with
How
And
was he
you're-
compensated, Pooh
with
Bear?
education. You just heard Cliff explain to you
And a
how much it
scholarship.
costs.
All
Not
right, I'm
every
going to show
student-
you
And not every student
This-
who goes to school gets a
that
scholarship.
right there. Free education.
You stole those books?
But
Free
you're not,
education.
You're not, but you're,
I hear
it's
you.
not football. That's not football.
And
The
if you read
agreement
those
was
books, you don't get a
you-
degree.
The agreement was you come and play football, we will educate you, right? We'll give you a place to stay, we'll feed you, right? We'll give you an avenue to the NFL because that's what really happened. He didn't make the most of that. That's not the Florida Gators' problem. That was
And
Tim Tebow's
How come
problem.
no one's talking about how much money the coaches make then? You want to argue that the coaches
Absolutely.
make money off the players, right?
Absolutely.
It's the players. It's the it's the Tim Tebow's, it's the Jameis
I was gonna
Winston.
say, I read somewhere in Texas, the second highest paid government employee was the football coach.
Yeah.
And a
at
lot
the
of places,
University
it's
of
the highest.
Texas.
Yes.
In a lot of places, it's the highest paid employee of a government.
I
the
think it was
football
the
coach.
highest.
What was that, Chief?
That's probably true here in Florida.
Yeah.
Who's the coach of?
Will
He's a big
Muschamp.
Jake.
Is
Yeah.
Muschamp still the coach at the
Okay.
University of Florida?
Muschamp, yeah.
And
it
I
wasn't
don't
Miami
even
or
know
Florida
who
State.
coaches Miami or Florida State.
Right, that's what I was going to say. I don't know.
Well, what's his name at USF? Just
Oh,
paid,
you also got Lane Kiffin down at FIU.
no,
or
Lane
FAU.
Kiffin is no longer there. He's at Arkansas. I
Um,
think
somewhere like that.
yeah,
He
Lane
did
Kiffin,
leave.
he's gone.
Now, to throw one more monkey wrench in this whole thing, there is a Republican congressperson. I don't remember his name. He's saying, okay, if these students are gonna get paid or have the ability to get paid by it's called NIL, their name, image, and likeness.
Mhm.
So if they get the NIL set up, then their scholarships need to be taxable
Yeah,
as income.
as
So if
well
they
as the profits from the likeness.
Well, yeah, that would be.
I wonder what the
income.
likeness is. So let's say Tim Tebow, right? Tim Tebow doesn't own number 15 for the Florida Gators. So that's not his likeness. That's not his jersey. He's just
No,
a guy that's filling it out for a couple years.
Right, but
So I don't think he could make any money on jersey sales.
No, what it would allow him to do would be to go to a trade show where he could sign number 15 jerseys at $200 a pop and not be in violation.
I'm not even
Or-
sure that's allowed. I think it's
would be.
You can be
Well,
in
that would be his name. Yeah.
you can sell your name to
Yes.
Epic Game Company, whoever makes these video games. You
Right.
can sell your name to Johnny's car wash in downtown Phoenix or
Correct.
whatever.
You could be on a billboard. You could say, hey, I eat Wheaties for breakfast, whatever the case may be.
Now I'm wondering, will these guys get Nike contracts? Will they get Under Armour contracts?
More than likely, yeah. Well, like you said, the market value clause in there was designed to say, well, if you're going to pay Michael Jordan X amount of dollars for whatever putting his likeness on a shoe, that's the market value now. Okay, so that's where they're going to get around all that. They can say, well, we're just going to up our expenses towards our advertising dollar and start paying people more for no apparent reason other than to pay the athletes more.
Let me tell you, there's this guy, he's got a YouTube channel. Noah watches it. My son watches it a lot. He's called Destroyer, I think. Right. And he's actually here in the Tampa area. And he's got a huge following. And he was a kicker, I think, at over in Orlando. I don't know which school he was at, maybe a Central Florida or UCF. And he was threatened by the NCAA when he was a student because he started a YouTube channel and he started making money at it. And they told him, you either give up the YouTube channel and then you take all the money and you donate it back to the school or back to charity. I don't know what, or you have to quit the team. He ended up quitting the team. So now he does, like I said, he's got a huge following. He's making probably millions of dollars on his YouTube channel and all that. And, so he started talking about this. Noah was showing me the other day. And he's like, well, can I go back to school now? If this passes, can I go back to school? Because the law changed and I haven't used up all my eligibility.
I was going to say, meaning eligibility, yeah.
Right. But, he brings up, a good point about, he was just making a YouTube channel, something totally separate from the sport. Now, he may have been talking about sports and he was going out there filming things, but they shut him down. And so he never finished playing college ball. The other part of this is like there's a kid for Plant City. He's the number one receiver from high school to go into the NFL. He's the number one ranked by ESPN, and he's right here in Plant City. So you take a kid like that who's obviously very good and he's very popular. What about a high school kid? Is a high school kid currently allowed to make money? Right?
And then most of them are not adults.
How are they making the high school money?
Well, I'm saying couldn't he, because he's popular, right? I think his name is Mario Williams. He's the number one receiver.
You're saying would he be eligible for something?
Well, could he go down to the local supermarket and say, hey, I'm going to stand out here and do things? Is he allowed to make money? He's over 16.
Yeah, I think most of them can because there's.
But then he goes to college and he can't.
Listen, I'll give him a tip.
NCAA doesn't govern high school. That's
right. That's what I'm saying.
I'll give him a tip when he bags my groceries and takes them out to the car.
Right.
So let me ask you this.
This is a quagmire.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think, again, going back to my statement that we're really only talking about football and basketball?
Right.
Do you think the students stay in school longer?
Oh, you said because like in basketball they have the one and done rule.
Yes.
Probably not, because there's still going to be that enticement. You're not going to be able to make as much as you would as a first round draft pick.
I think most student athletes who play football, they play 2 to 3 seasons if they're NFL worthy. They may not play the full 4, but they play 2 to 3. Mm-hmm. But the NBA worthy basketball player plays 1.
Right, one and done. And now they have the rules they can bypass the NBA altogether, right? There used to be a rule. I know football has it where you have to play at least 1 full year before you're eligible for the draft.
Yeah, right? Now they can go play in Europe and then be eligible for the draft.
Okay.
In basketball. I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know that to be a fact.
It's basketball. It's okay.
So, B-Love, why did you go to college?
Matt, I'm a college dropout, brother.
Oh, okay. Me too. Cliff, why did you go to college?
Well, mainly for the chicks.
Hey, that's where you met your wife, so it worked. Congratulations.
Ta-da.
That was an awful expensive way to meet your wife, though. But you go, all right. So you go to school, right, to get an education, so you can go out and get a job and make money.
I believe the Chief is the only college graduate on this call.
That's correct.
3 times, by the way, 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So you figure these guys who go to one and done, like we just talked about the NBA, right? The whole purpose of going to school is to go get a job where you can make a lot of money. Well, they play their 1 year, then they go into the NBA. The first thing they do is sign a multi-million-dollar contract. Mission accomplished, don't you think? As far as the college education part of it goes.
You're saying that's their reward for?
No, I'm just saying that's, if the Chief goes to school and then he comes out of there and he has got an MD, he's a doctor, and he goes out and now he has a career making $1 million a year, right? Because of his education. That's why.
Can I be a cardiologist?
Absolutely.
Oh,
you can be a physical therapist. You could team up with Ashley and start your own.
I want to be a cardiologist.
Now, I'm not saying the education isn't valuable too, but most people get an education so that they can earn a decent living or what have you. So if you go to school for 1 year and then you sign a multi-million-dollar contract, so you leave school, you could always come back to school and get the education part. But now you've reached your goal of using school to help you make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Just a way to look at it.
I'm doing all right for a college dropout.
Likewise.
So let's, we only got a couple of 10, 15 minutes here left on the show. Let's round it out. We'll just end with this topic. Man, a lot going on in the news today in regard to still COVID. I know we're 13, 14 weeks into that. What's going on with the economy, unemployment? My personal feeling is we haven't seen the worst yet.
Oh, we have definitely. Have you looked at the Department of Health, Florida? They have a COVID tracker dashboard. Has anybody looked at that?
Yeah, it's very interactive, very good, by the way.
So from middle of May until today, it is an upward. I mean, just a huge upward curve here. We were looking at 500 cases sometime around May the 12th or so, and now we're up over 2,500 cases.
I'm not. But my thing is, I'm not sure that's really telling you real information because.
Well, I can tell you. So
some of it could be better testing.
Well, I have a friend who is a COVID nurse. This is what she does at C.H.A.Z. And she has told us that on her floor, where she only does COVID, they have never had so many patients as they do today. So I think these numbers are pretty accurate for when you judge them against the people that are actually getting really sick. And
what is the testing that's really telling us?
A couple of things on the numbers is this. One, I think there's a spike in numbers because testing is more readily available than it was at the beginning of this thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Two, I mean, I was one of those yahoos that went out Memorial Day weekend and did it all. I think that as you begin to open up the country and specifically the state of Florida, you're going to see a spike in cases because we're getting out, more than we were. So the spike in cases doesn't necessarily, I'm not shocked by that. Concerned, yeah, but shocked, not at all. I think where this thing plays into the economy is, here's the reality. Have any of you been to any restaurants?
Yes.
Yes.
I went to two today.
Then what's your experience been?
Every other table was.
What did he say? Would kill you right now.
I said it was delicious.
It was delicious.
I had a 3-meat omelet at Kiki's for breakfast.
Nice. Congratulations. I was at Cracker Barrel yesterday or Saturday. I don't know.
Yeah, but my thing is, the restaurants are empty.
Yeah,
50% capacity or not, they're not at 50% capacity. They're empty. I think overall people are still scared of this thing. I mean, let me throw church into this. I was at church this morning, in an auditorium that seats, there was probably less than a third full. And last week was the first week there. This was the second week there. There was less people week 2 than there was week 1. I just think people are not going out. They're not traveling. They're not going to dinner. They're not going to retail. And the reality is that a lot of these businesses right now are propped up, especially the small businesses, by the C.H.A.Z. Act that had the payroll protection plan. Right. That payroll protection plan comes to an end at some point. And the two caveats of that plan were you had to retain 90% of your employees and you had to use 75% of the funds on payroll if you wanted it to be 100% like a grant,
Forgivable.
essentially
Yes.
forgivable, right?
That's all changed.
Now, if you don't do that,
Not
there
anymore.
are some provisions where there's like a 1%,
No.
interest rate over 5 years or whatever. But my personal feeling is once that protection, once these employers get the loan forgiven, they can lay off whoever they want.
Mhm.
And the reality is right now they've got 90% of the workforce working because they have to keep the money, right? And to make it forgivable.
They don't have
But
to do
once,
that anymore.
yeah, once they don't have to do that anymore, they're going to lay. I think you're going to see 20% unemployment in late Q3, Q4.
You may be right, but what I'm saying is those rules have already changed. You no longer have to meet all those requirements. And then anybody who's had a loan under, I forget what it was, $500,000 or something, there's it may be now automatically forgiven no matter what. There's been a lot of changes to the C.A.Z. Act done by Congress since it was first enacted, and a lot of those rules are now gone. Now you can still meet the 8 week, and before you had to spend it all within 8 weeks. Well, now they've lengthened it to 24 weeks. And of course, there's still a ton of money out there that's never been used. So a lot of businesses never went out and got it. But do I think the economy is going to get worse? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. But I'll also tell you this: there were people in the restaurants I went to.
Nothing's changed from the very beginning of this. We're in a race. We said, stay at home. And the reason for that was just to buy time for them to get ventilators and hospitals and everybody up to speed, flatten the curve. They were ever going to eliminate the curve. We're still in that race. That race is still, we're entering maybe the third quarter of a four-quarter event here. The race is now for a vaccine because I don't think now that we've let people out again, you can't put them back in. It's like biscuits out of a can. Once you pop it,
you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, can you?
You can't put it back in the tube. So, we're not going to be able to go back to that. So, excuse me. I talk about COVID. I start coughing.
No, actually, I was worried. So, were you going to mention gravy with those biscuits, or?
Oh my gosh, yes. But the thing is, we're in a race now. So they've started human trials in a couple of places. They're not really talking a lot about it. But when these trials, hopefully, we're in June, July, August, maybe September. All we got to do is make it through a couple more, maybe 6-8 weeks before we potentially have a vaccine here in the States. And remember, we got the whole world looking at this. Israel is supposed to be close to this. Mm-hmm. I know Europe's working on it pretty cohesively from what I understand. No idea what China's doing besides starting riots in the Northeast.
Creating the next one. Creating COVID-20.
So, that's where we're at now. We're in a race. And the thing is you're right, Brian. People are, we're either going to all get sick and no one's going to be able to work, or, they're going to shut the economy down and no one's going to work. But if the vaccine comes into play, that's the game changer.
That's the game changer. That's 100% the game changer.
That's the one that says everybody gets to go back to work, 100% capacity.
It's just crazy to me, like what a worldwide pandemic does. I did doing some research for this show today. In the state of Florida, our unemployment record high ever was April, almost 13%, 12.9%.
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago, just 2 months ago, was the record low ever.
Lowest, yep.
Yeah.
At 2.8%, right? Now, here's what I think is funny. Which state has the highest level of unemployment in the country?
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
Tell me which state.
Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't the joke.
No,
which state has a record high unemployment?
Yes.
New York. I would say New York. California.
You're asking who has the highest?
Who has the highest rate of unemployment in the country? Which state?
Is it Florida?
No.
Okay, you tell me.
I would say
Nevada.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
28.2%.
Yeah.
No service industry, no tourism, no brothels.
Yep.
Well, I'm the only one here, and I'm an idiot, and I have no medical training. I get all that. I think we're being made fools of. I just think nature's going to do what it's going to do. I think so many more people have had COVID and have antibodies that never got sick. And I think
and
we've done a lot more damage to not only our economy, but to people's psyche and to everything else. And to Pooh's earlier comment months ago when he was upset about the churches and all that. Remember we had that old episode. We were so quick to give up our freedoms and our rights. And I know that there's a medical thing. Me personally, I just think we've made this a lot worse than it ever would have been on its own.
Matt, I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna tell you that I am. You know, we tested the entire fire department, which is over 1,000 men and women, and we're out. These are the guys that are out there actually, you know, picking up and transporting COVID patients. They have day-to-day interaction with them, and out of 1,000-man department, we had like 10 that tested positive.
Okay,
so
then that makes my case the other way. Then it's not as dangerous as everybody thought. It's
well,
one or the other.
I mean, unless you're the guy that's dying in the hospital, you know, right now.
But there's a lot of other things caused.
There are 12,000 hospitalizations. I'm looking at it right now on the COVID dashboard. 12,000 hospitalizations in the state of Florida and 3,000 deaths.
Out of 21 million people.
But if you're one of those 12,000, you know, all of a sudden it becomes real personal to you.
But it's also you're one of the people who has a heart attack. It's real personal to you. You're one of the people who gets the flu. It's real personal to you.
Of course,
I do get it. I'm just thinking when we react so quickly, and then years later when we go through all the data and the dust settles, we find out things were a lot different than we think when we first started, when we first jumped the gun.
The positive testing. So when they were testing patients at the start of this thing, the positivity outcome was about 5%. We're testing more now than we ever have, obviously, because every day it's more than ever. Same rate of infections, 5%. It's like 5.3, 5.4.
Matt, so Sweden thought along the same lines you did. They said, yeah, we saw what happened in Italy. We're not going to shut down. They said, we see what the United States is doing. We're not going to shut down. And it took over. It spread rampant to where the fact they had to shut down. They have one of the most highest per capita cases of COVID, and people are dying in the streets because they can't get them in the hospitals. It's a first world country.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm telling you, 5 years from now, I think we're going to be realizing something different.
Well, the problem is, you got to. Yeah, you're right. We're going to survive it. Just like we survived, the plague, and we survived the Spanish flu, and we survived other pandemics. Some of us will. I don't know about me, but there will be people that survive it. But
you are accident prone.
You got that right.
Of the four of us, you were the most likely to not survive this pandemic.
For a lot of reasons.
That earlier.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
I know. Like I said at the beginning, I understand I may be out on my own and I may be an idiot. I get it. But there's just something that tells me there's more to this story than meets the eye.
But you know what, Maddie? Well, you know what, Maddie?
What's that?
You have a donkey.
I do have a donkey. And I believe the donkey's COVID free.
You have a donkey.
Comes down to the donkey.
Luna.
Luna the donkey.
I like Luna. She's cool.
Luna's going to have to make a special appearance on the show one of these days.
I think so.
She's in the intro.
No.
That's
I was going to say.
Oh, we did.
That's
right.
Yes, that's the horse.
Gentlemen, what do you say? We wrap this thing up.
Yes.
I'm done.
Had a lot of fun.
I'm done.
Gentlemen. Once again,
special thanks to Ashley for coming on and throwing me under the bus.
And hey, listen, by the way, we had a number of people who came on tonight and watched this. We appreciate that. Listen, we'd love to know when you're here, regardless of whether you comment or not. We would just love to know that you're here so we know who those folks are. But gentlemen.
Same that time.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, one thing we didn't talk about tonight that I think is very, very important.
Chicken biscuits
is in addition to it being Flag Day, today is also National Bourbon Day.
Yummy.
So I recommend as a nightcap.
Oh, it's President Donald Trump's birthday. Happy birthday, President.
Oh, is it really?
Is it the president's birthday?
It's the Army. It's the Army's
on
birthday.
Bourbon Day? What are they?
I had like a bunch of different reminders come up. I think it was the Army's birthday, the president's birthday, Flag Day. There was a sad day for all of us that popped up as well. Some other stuff, but I was like, man, this is an eventful day, like a date in history.
Yeah. But listen, in honor of that, we should repost the short of Flag Day since today is Flag Day.
That's not a bad idea. I'll put that up. Flagpole Day coming at you.
How's that flag doing? Everybody's still waving nice and pretty?
Dude, it's strong.
Looking good.
Strong. Thank you for your help again. I have, you know, the most beautiful yard in the neighborhood.
There you go.
Voted only by me, of course, but you know.
All right, ladies and
Listen, gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. Thanks for tuning in. If you like, make sure you like. Don't forget to share on YouTube, subscribe on Facebook as well. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Until next Sunday. We should say next Sunday is Father's Day.
Oh, yes.
And we will not be doing a live show next Sunday at 7 p.m., although our pre-recorded show will go live at 7 p.m. on Sunday. So for all of you fathers out there, proof that you are true studs.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day.
Man, I like it. See ya.